Hey, this is Wileen Benson, and you are on the Daily Gratitude Call, where we start every day in gratitude. Gratitude is the highest energy state that we can be in. It creates a frequency of positive vibration that attracts positive experiences into our lives. Hey everybody, this is Wileen Benson. This is our Daily Gratitude Call. I want to thank everybody who's here live and also those who are joining us on the podcast. I am really grateful for those who come here on a daily basis so that we can create this wonderful podcast and just a live experience in the moment, right here, real time, changing and transforming. And also that we have the opportunity to go back and listen to these, that you can share these podcast recordings, and people, even if you're not able to come here live, can still benefit from what we create here. It's just super powerful. And I know that there is a scripture that talks about when two or more are gathered in his name, that he will be there also. And I really feel that God and the Holy Spirit are here with us as we create. And so just really want to give gratitude to all of those who are here creating this, and also those who listen afterwards to continue to benefit. On my daily GPS this morning, I actually made a post in the Lord's Way to Wealth public Facebook group, had some really great insight into just the power of these inspired shortcuts that we have on a daily basis. And if you have purchased one of my daily GPS planners, you know, towards the back, there is a place where you write all the inspired shortcuts that you've had throughout the whole month. And then there's another page that gives you an opportunity to really reflect on that and see where God has brought you, with these inspired shortcuts. Maybe it's also giving you an opportunity to see maybe some of the inspired shortcuts that you resisted. And typically what happens for me is if I get an inspired shortcut that I don't take action on, that inspired shortcut comes back later in maybe a slightly different way. But that piece of the puzzle, that step on the path, still needs to be accomplished. And how much easier our path is and how much faster we can move when we take action on those inspired shortcuts. And today, Mary, who is one of our live participants on the call today, mentioned that she's grateful for yesterday's inspired shortcuts. And I had mentioned, even before she came on the call, I had mentioned that I was really grateful for seeing the path behind me that God has created for me with my inspired shortcuts. So we were both on the same wavelength with that. And I just loved how she had said it, yesterday's inspired shortcuts. So that's what we're going to focus on with our 90-second private silent meditation today, is gratitude for yesterday's inspired shortcuts. And we'll see what happens. And for those of you who, if maybe you're joining us for the first time on the podcast, you don't know what an inspired shortcut is, I'll just tell you real quick. There is a process that I teach called the Daily GPS, that is your direction finder for the day. And one of the things you ask for in that daily GPS, and we do it also here on the gratitude call, is we ask for for our inspired shortcut for the day, the one most important thing that we can do to continue forward. And usually doesn't make sense. God knows where we're going and he knows the shortcuts. And so that's why we call it an inspired shortcut. So that's what we're going to focus on today in our 90-second private silent meditation, gratitude for yesterday's inspired shortcuts. And so just grab your pencil and paper and write down whatever comes to you, whatever you're inspired to write on this subject. Gratitude for yesterday's inspired shortcuts. Begin. All right. Just going to write this last thought. Okay. Well, I got a lot of really cool stuff. And if I shared everything and just continued expounding upon it, we would be here for days, I think. But the first thing that came to me is that as I was going over my list of inspired shortcuts over this past 30 days, I was seeing that I am flawed. I was seeing my flaws, but I also saw forgiveness and I saw new opportunities to try again. Like I mentioned before, there were some things that I didn't do perfectly, but I saw that later on, those same opportunities were given to me again. And I also, part of the daily GPS planner is that there's a place for you to just kind of write things down, just to brain dump. If there's like things that you need to do, but it's not going to get done today, you can put it on this page. And before you move on to the next book, which I'm starting a new planner today, before you move on to the new planner, you don't just like transfer all the information over. You really take some time and sit in meditation. And do I want to take this baggage with me to the next month, or can I just do it, delegate, or dump it? And I realized that I have set systems up this past month because of the inspired shortcuts that I've received, that I only had to move 4 of those things forward. There was a list of probably, 25 things, and I only had to move 4 of those things forward. And it was because the systems that have been set up, I looked at all of them and I'm like, well, if it's not done yet, it's going to get done. And some of the things I was able to cross off, it's like, that's not important anymore, or some things have already been done. So that was really freeing. I remember I've always been a list maker because I don't like to keep things in my mind. I like to put them down so I can think about, so I can just have my mind open and free. And I used to write stuff and it just felt so heavy that I have to do this all. But what I found through the Lord's Way to Wealth and through the architecture of life, that you involve others, you bring people into your creation. And there's this magic that happens when you can give over your ego to another human being. And, that's the way God designed it. He created the earth. And then when the earth was finished, he placed Adam on the earth and he said, there you go. Now you maintain it. And can you imagine like this whole creation that he did, and he gave it to a mere human? And of course he was in the garden with him and was, teaching him and training him. But Adam was just a mere human. And he trusted him to take care of this creation. And the main part of that was that God created it to perpetuate itself, to multiply and replenish itself. And so, you can put a mere human and you can delegate to mere children to take care of things when you have that divine blueprint in place to begin with. Melissa.
I really like that. That like really opened my eyes to a lot. My thought process was a little different. I was actually thinking about yesterday's shortcut that I got.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a very consistent exercise schedule. I go to the gym Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I'm actually sitting in the parking lot right now. And I go to a workout class that a friend teaches on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And yesterday I woke up and got dressed and I was like ready to go. And I just felt like it was not the right thing for me to do. And I've struggled in the past with, if I get inconsistent with something, then I just kind of drop it all together. It's kind of like that all or nothing thinking. And so part of my brain was like, no, I don't want to lose this momentum. I have such good, routine doing this. But I really felt like I needed to get in the shower and I needed to wash my hair and I just needed some self-care. And it was so healing for me to just like put makeup on and like blow dry my hair. And instead of a rigorous workout that I usually do, I took my son and we went on a long walk. It was a beautiful day in Utah. It was very sunny. And just going on that walk, I feel like I received so much
Mm,
inspiration, and I even met a potential friend, which was really cool. And so I just could see how, breaking my routine, even though I hate doing it because I love being on my routine, um, when the Lord prompts you to do it, it just can bring so much more than if I were to just be really rigid and like, nope, I'm doing it. And who knows, I could have been really burnt out from that workout yesterday. So
awesome.
I'm really grateful looking back at what I received from following my shortcut.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I think that's what gratitude is all about, right? That looking back and noticing the little miracles that just seem to be just commonplace. And, just that one little tweak, that one little change. And, the thought that I had as you were talking is, with your exercise routine, it's like, I have to make sure that I, stay in this routine, or I'm going to get out of the routine or whatever. That's fear-based, but love-based, that self-care and going on a walk with your son and then meeting that potential friend. And who knows, if you hadn't taken the time to do the self-care, washing your hair and, so you looked all cute and everything, who knows, you may not have taken the time to talk with that friend, that potential friend. So there's so much in that we don't see. Like that's why I call them inspired shortcuts, like God tapping you on the shoulder and saying, if you go this way, it's going to be actually a way better day, and it's going to, play out way better. We have no idea what is ahead. Thank you. Betsy.
So, oh my gosh, Melissa and Wileen, I love that so much. I am just right on the same exact path as both of you. And when I was thinking about the whole concept of all of yesterday's inspired shortcuts lives, inspired, what a beautiful voice that we get the opportunity to heed, and then we get to choose into, do we follow that? So it's really what happens when I focus on my to-do list versus his to-be list. And the Lord always brings out the bestie in me. And it really is the Savior's way instead of my way. And I realize that these shortcuts, these inspirations, and like Wileen has said so many times, they don't always make a lot of sense. But I saw this path ahead, and it's really marking the path. And the path might have a curve up ahead, and you only really see the next marker. And you don't see all this beautiful path and the scenery and everything that the Lord has planned, but you just focus on that next marker on his path. And it's part of the path, not the whole. And the whole is his gift. And it's just so beautiful to see that. It going back to the my to do versus his to be is I have different ways to take notes and write things down. And one of them, just really my quickest way, is to send myself a text. And so I would write these to-dos or these ideas or these quotes or these, like, all these brilliances of things in a text, and they would kind of back up. I would even write a little shopping list or whatever. Well, then something happened where my phone updated and my draft was gone. And I actually had past texts that I saved that I was like, oh yeah, that would be good to note. Yeah, that would be good. Kind of these past things. And when it was gone, I went, like, oh, this loss, and there wasn't a way to get it back. And then I realized that if it was that important, that I would have either acted on it, or I would have, it wasn't, maybe these things weren't as inspired as I thought. And some of the things were gone and done and didn't need it. And I love what Wileen said too, the do it, delegate it, or dump it. And the Lord kind of dumped it for me. And then I went into this place of having it be very freeing, and went to a more solid note-taking system. And so it's like what we consider a great and a good and even a best idea if it's ours versus the Lord's, then there's usually an up level that the Lord has in that to be, bringing out the bestie in me. And what a beautiful thought of the past versus the looking forward for the future. So yeah, I love this.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And what a fun experience to have God just dump all of the to-dos that you thought were important and be like, okay, now come to me and I
Right.
will give you the one thing. I love that. Thank you so much. And what a fun, I love your attitude, I guess, is, what I'm feeling from you is just the happiness that comes from knowing that God is in charge of the whole. We can maybe only see just a little bit ahead, but he knows where we're going. And yeah, just lots of fun things that you shared. Thank you. Mary.
Yeah, I just love this too, because this is exactly, well, the word exactly, it's very much along the same lines. I'm grateful for yesterday's inspired shortcut because it led me to something that I've been dreaming of since I was a little girl. And I knew instinctively as a little girl that this was someday, just someday, somebody, that this would happen. And it's so interesting because yesterday's inspired shortcuts lead us. I have had to trust that inspired shortcut, like you say, doesn't make sense sometimes, but you just do it. That inspired shortcut, yesterday's inspired shortcut will lead me. It's leading me on the path, on the right path, on the path to my desires, to the path to my dreams. It's leading me. And so trusting that, living in the moment with that inspired shortcut, just trusting it, it's leading me to my righteous desires.
Wow, so powerful, Mary, and congratulations. I mean, that is just like worthy of celebration right there of knowing that, all the learning that you have embraced, this trust and faith that you've developed is led you to yesterday's inspired shortcut that led you to a little girl dream. How powerful. That just warms my heart. Thank you.
Thank you. And I would just want to say too, that as I was going through my day yesterday, I did the inspire shortcut and I let it be with me, but then my day was filled with just work and stuff. It's like, wait, what is this? How does this play into my life? Well, it's part of my life. And, you work and you do the things that you have to do. And actually there was fruits of my labors. I got to see fruits of my labors from that as well. So it's just living and trusting that your righteous desire or your desires on the back burner, but it's still burning.
Awesome. You're absolutely right. We do all have life to live, and we have people, that need our attention and things like that. But that's why it's important to put that inspired shortcut at the top, right? Because you did that, and then all life kind of comes. But you can go through that day and feel very successful and very accomplished and fulfilled and happy because, you did what you knew was most important. I think it's also really good to mention that different personalities tend to put value on different things. Some people put a lot of value on like paper, writing notes, making sure that all the administrative type of things get done. And that's super, super important. And then a lot of people with their personalities put a lot of emphasis on people and relationships. And that's super important too. And it's kind of that coming together and not judging other people, because if every single person lived by in their inspired shortcuts, we look at everybody and be like, what the heck are they doing? Like, why are they going that direction? That doesn't have anything to do, because it's just me and God together. I mean, nobody else can really understand it, or I can't explain it because I'm just doing what I'm inspired to do. But if we all lived that way, then all of us would have the most happy and fulfilled lives. And there really would be no reason to there's no way that you can judge another person for how they're acting or what they, think is important in the moment if we're really living according to those inspired shortcuts. Mary, did you have something else you'd like to share?
Yeah, you just reminded me that, because I'm very much a list maker too. I
Mhm.
mean, I lists and so I let the page speak to me
Mhm.
from whichever things I can do at that moment or what I'm called to do, I guess. But I was thinking, I just lost my thought.
Take a second, it'll come back.
It's when you're going about doing, you had said something that triggered this thought. When I was going about doing my life, I thought about this yesterday when I lived in California, and it was a new practice for me to look outside myself
Mm.
and serve and look for opportunities to serve somebody. I was just noticing how I was working full time and in between on my breaks or lunch or after work, after my workouts, after my school, I have a day full of things. I still found time to do the for others in those breaks. And I knew that there were just desires that I had. And I wondered how would those even come to be. But as I was listening, as I was working and as I was listening for those little inspired shortcuts, they eventually, the thing that I had wanted and that I was dreaming of showed up.
Awesome. I think it's so wonderful how our gratitude calls one flows into another, because yesterday our focus was on gratitude for myself and others. And that's what you're saying is, there's a journey of becoming my own bestie, like Betsy was talking about. And then once we kind of have that, we hit that trust within ourselves and a little bit of confidence within ourselves, then there is this natural desire to want to look outside of yourself. Just that desire, I think, is innate within each one of us. And so, the subject today of yesterday's inspired shortcuts, the way that these inspired shortcuts lead us is first, helping us to feel really confident and loving ourselves. And then also at some point to be able to look out to others and see the value of others as well. And I've seen you do that, Mary. Thank you so much for sharing that. Let's go ahead and shift into our permission process. Let's go ahead and take a deep breath. And just allow yourself to, first of all, consider this idea of inspired shortcuts and what that means to you and what your understanding of it is so far. Maybe evidence that you've seen of the power of taking action on these inspired shortcuts. And possibly you're still new to this process and you haven't really allowed yourself to trust and have faith in those inspired shortcuts as much. Or maybe you're even still at the level of not really knowing whether it's an inspired shortcut or if it's just you trying to tell yourself that this is what needs to be done. Wherever you're at, just allow yourself to be there, no resistance. Maybe listening, if there are some limiting beliefs coming up, go ahead and write those down and just let everything be right now, just about this concept of inspired shortcuts. And what is your, if you fully understood this idea of inspired shortcuts and you had the evidence that they work, what would be different in your life? If you really had the evidence, and maybe you already do, And maybe you're just going to be writing down how your life is different, noticing the change that has happened as you have followed Inspired Shortcuts. But if you're not quite there yet, if it were true, if you were able to have the evidence, how would your life be different if you could every day ask God for an inspired shortcut? What would be different in your life? And invite you to allow yourself, now that you've gotten some things written down, to now allow a vision to unfold for you of maybe one of those little girl or little boy dreams that you've had that have been kind of stuffed back in the back of your mind, and you haven't really allowed yourself to fully express that dream because your list is so long of things that you think you need to do that you just, well, I'll have to do that later. I just don't have time for that. I don't have the money for that, or the resources, or whatever. Can't do that. Just don't have enough energy, whatever it is, that where you have stuffed those little girl or little boy dreams in the back of your mind. Hopefully at some point they might be able to come forth into the forefront, but not until after all of these things that you judge as important are done. And allow that little boy or little girl dream to come to the forefront of your mind, of your consciousness, and give yourself permission to allow this dream to expand and to feel like physical reality right now. What does it feel like to have this little girl or little boy dream manifested? What does it taste like? What does it smell like? What does it sound like? Just put all of your senses into it, your emotions into it, and put people into it. Put results into it, things that this little boy or little girl dream would empower you to do or to be. And build that vision. And this is an opportunity right now to receive some evidence today that these inspired shortcuts will take you to this vision in the fastest, most efficient way possible. So as you are building this dream and being in it, feeling it, having it be a physical reality in your imagination, that you are in it, what is the one most important thing that you could do today that would take you one step closer to this actually being a reality? And don't try to figure it out. Just allow the inspired shortcut to come to you. The one most important thing to do today, that this little girl or little boy dream is a reality. And whatever it is, just trust that it's perfect. It may have nothing to do with this dream, and you might think, well, that is way too little. That can't be it. Or that's way too big. Or that has nothing to do with this. That can't be it. Whatever it is, just trust it. Just any of those thoughts that are coming to you that are trying to push it aside, just write those down as limiting beliefs. And write down this inspired shortcut and commit right now in this moment that if you want that little girl or little boy dream to be a reality, that this is your first step. It is your first step. And just like in biblical times when like Moses put the snake up on the staff and said, all you have to do is just look at the snake and you'll be healed. And some people were like, that's ridiculous. I'm not going to do it. And they died. So simple. Inspired shortcuts are always things that you can do that day. And usually it doesn't even take very long. And God also takes into consideration your responsibilities, your life, your tasks and work that is required of you, your other things that are important in your life, and nothing that he gives you on a daily basis in your inspired shortcut will ever interfere with that. You'll always you'll be able to always flow with it if you put that first. So now that you have your inspired shortcut, let's take a look at these limiting beliefs that have come up. And what is the cost? If you hold on to that limiting belief, will you be able to actually take action on that inspired shortcut? Will that vision ever become a reality if you honor these limiting beliefs? And if you don't like what those limiting beliefs are going to produce for you, then you get to give yourself permission to let go of those limiting beliefs and choose some new beliefs by saying yes.
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 Awesome. So, what are some new beliefs? If you're ready to let go of those limiting beliefs, then you need to replace it with something. So, what new beliefs will replace those old limiting beliefs will be in alignment with this vision that you're building, and will also empower you to take that inspired shortcut today. What are your new beliefs? 2 or 3 new beliefs that will help you to move forward and to leave those limiting beliefs in the past. Maybe give them over to God, give them to Christ. Send them back to the universe to be used somewhere else. 2 or 3 new beliefs. And then go back to that vision, bring those new beliefs with you, and just double check and make sure these new beliefs are in alignment with what it is that you want to create. Because you want to create the new beliefs according to the person that you want to be, that you're becoming, not the person that you were yesterday or before you identified this limiting belief. So what are these new beliefs that are in alignment with this new vision that you're creating? And even if you write it as I am, and you have no evidence, physical evidence that that's true, you can write that truthfully because you have visited this vision. And in that vision, you are this person. So you can write it and you can read it and speak it powerfully because it is a physical reality in that vision that you just had, that you just experienced. So when you say that, you can visualize yourself in there, in that space, that physical reality. And then it's true. Take one more deep breath and just put a smile on your face, feeling the reality of this vision, of this dream come true, and the inevitability of it, because you have put emotion into it. You have this full vision. You've got an inspired shortcut that you're taking one step closer towards it. You've gotten rid of the limiting beliefs that will stop you. So it is inevitable that this little girl, little boy dream is now becoming an adult reality. And stay in that vision as long as you choose to. And then when you're ready, you can come back to the present. And I want to just invite anybody that is feeling like they need some extra support in creating your vision to contact me. You just have to go to askwylene.com and you can schedule a 15-minute call, and we'll have a discussion about whatever it is that is stopping you from achieving that little boy or little girl dream, making it a physical adult reality. That's something that I'm really, really good at. So I would love to have that conversation with you. askwylene.com. Who has something they would like to share about their experience today?
I would, Waylene.
Okay, Mary and then Betsy.
How would my life be different if I trusted my inspired shortcut? I would act immediately, first of all, on those inspired shortcuts instead of pushing them away.
Mm-hmm.
There would be alignment and peace in my life. I can see that as I've taken those steps, I've gotten braver.
Mm-hmm.
I've developed more courage and more confidence. I used to think when I was little, someday someone will know I'm somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And I am someone.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that I didn't need for others to see that I was somebody.
Mm-hmm.
I just needed to see that for myself.
Wow. Thank
And
you.
can I share more?
Mm-hmm.
You're welcome. So my inspired shortcut is to I had a response from someone that I had reached out to. So today, whew, it's being brave and making the call to connect voice to voice. And so my limiting belief was, well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's not my next shortcut or the inspired shortcut, my next step. But that is just creating doubt.
Mhm.
And my new beliefs are, well, first, the little girl within me is so happy. And
Mhm.
she's still there. She was off to the side before, you know, and now she's
Mm.
like right there with me, happy and empowered. And I am living my dream. I am using my true voice. I am somebody. I am loved and respected. All is well, and I am safe, and I am living an inspired life.
Wow, so beautiful. Thank you so much, Mary. Wow, powerful new beliefs. And what a powerful transformation that you just experienced there. I love that idea that those little girls and those little boys are still with us, and how exciting and fun and joyful. I just feel, that feeling inside that little girl feeling
Thank you.
fulfilled. Thank you. I have to mention, and then Betsy, I'd love to have you share. I have to mention that there was a day a few days ago that I received an Inspired Shortcut in my daily GPS, and I didn't act on it immediately. And when I went back to act on it, I judged it. I was like, oh, I can't say that. It was like for a post. My Inspired Shortcut was to post something. And when I actually went back and read it, I was like, oh, I can't say that. I don't want to, I'm going to have to why would I have think to say that? And I totally judged it and doubted it, like you're saying, Mary. And this morning, when I got, even though it was before the gratitude call, usually I don't finish, my Inspired Shortcut until after the gratitude call, but I took action immediately and posted something in the Lord's Way to Wealth public group immediately after I received it. And I'm grateful for that I did, because, I had that experience earlier this week where I had judged it. So that taking immediate action, like you said, Mary, is so, so powerful. And just really putting that at the top of the list. And it's less time to judge. You're still in that spiritual high of, receiving the Inspired Shortcut. And this Holy Spirit is with you. You're going to be able to speak it with the Holy Spirit. So it always will come across just fine. It'll be great.
Eileen, I just want to say that's why that's why it comes to you, because that was the moment.
Yes. Thank you. Perfect. Betsy.
So mine really touched my heart. And I realized that in the past, I had withheld certain questions in my prayers to the Lord because I either didn't want the answers or I knew the answers and didn't want that confirmation. And so while I think I get over that, it led me to really think about what is my morning routine? What is my time where I spend the most time in prayer and meditation and scripture study? What does that routine really look like? And I realized that I need to give him whatever time that is supposed to happen that day and really be flexible with it. And I call it mushy. I need to be mushy with that time, and whatever time it is, it's all his time all day long is his time, not my time. And I realized that one of the things that I do is I look at this this beautiful vision board that I created, and I call it my vision board. And it was a couple years ago, and I created it as a multi-year, and it took months to do, and it was very inspired. And in this moment today, I have let go of the my vision board and what's God's vision board for me. And what elements in that vision board are no longer serve me, what truly are God's. And so I think in this reflection today, it's, letting go of routines and just spending whatever time it is. And so one of my inspired shortcuts is to really just listen to the scriptures all day long. And even though I may have something else going on in the background, there will be things throughout that having those words of God, in my ear all day, is one thing that will help feed my spirit and reconnect and really think about what is God's vision board as I look at that, what I created, what is God's, not mine. It kind of goes back to my to-do list versus his to-be list. And
Beautiful.
it was really beautiful and touched my heart today.
Beautiful. Thank you. Wow. What a powerful message to you today. Thank you. I want to just reiterate something that you said about withholding questions from the Lord, because we are, we don't really want the answer or whatever. This question, what's my inspired shortcut today? That is a very courageous question, because basically we are turning our day over to the Lord and saying, my list doesn't matter. What is the one most important thing for me to do today? And the beautiful part is that it's all for our good, that he has our best interest at heart. We're doing things that are specifically, he's giving us inspired shortcuts for our journey. And, if we're truly connected, it's also going to serve him. That's the beauty of doing your daily GPS every day, is you're connecting with him and having that life's purpose and your big dream of how that life's purpose fits into God's, aligning ourselves with his purpose as well, that it all works together. Everything that he gives us in an inspired shortcut, it's not only serving us, but it's also serving his purpose as well. So we know that's why sometimes it doesn't make sense. It's like, okay, he has a bigger vision. He has other people that he's trying to bring together with us. And, there's like so many moving parts. No way we could ever figure it out. Betsy, did you have one last thought before we end our call today?
No, thank you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for such a beautiful experience today. And I know we're all going to be taking action on our inspired shortcut today. And because yesterday's inspired shortcut was our focus, we get to look tomorrow to what this inspired shortcut did for us. And this is just a really powerful opportunity for us to create some evidence of our own ability to receive inspiration, for God's ability to guide us. And I know that there's going to be something really, really powerful created. I encourage you to share your thoughts on the Breakthrough with Gratitude group as well. We'd love to celebrate with you. Thank you so much. We will look forward to being back together tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. And love you all.
Thank you. Love you.
Thank you.
Love you too, Eileen.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Hey, thanks so much for listening. And I encourage you to tune in every day to the Daily Gratitude Call. And the Daily Gratitude Call happens live every weekday morning. I'd love to have you join. So to find out how to join live, go to my website, WileenBenson.com. Thanks for tuning in.